broad and diverse field. Is there any question? Okay. Forensic social work is a broad and diverse field of practice that includes any kind of micro, meso, and macro level of social work practice. And the micro level represents the individuals, that's the clients. Then the meso level represents the small groups or organizations, while the macro level represents the local, state, national, and international level of social work practice. They assist individuals involved in the criminal or legal justice system. I think someone was trying to ask a question. Is there any question so far? Okay. Forensic social workers also serve they serve the vulnerable populations, yes, because these populations I mentioned so far are vulnerable. When issues happen to them, they can't handle it outside of the forensic social worker. That's why we call them vulnerable populations. They include and are not limited to incarcerated youths. That is youths that are in prison, and adults, incarcerated adults too, adults that are in prison, minors, those that are not up to 18 years, but maybe they have one issue or the other with the legal system, and they are in conflict with the law. For example, juvenile offenders, delinquents in probation or remand homes. And you know what remand homes are? Remand homes are, or you can call them rehabilitation institutions where minors are kept to rehabilitate them. Those that are not up to 18 years, they don't, even if they are charged to court, they don't sentence them to prison terms because they are not up to 18. So they'll be remanded in the remand home or in the rehabilitation institution, or they have juvenile prisons too, prisons for those that are not up to 18. And it is not as tough as those adult prisons. Okay. And they also serve this population, recessed inmates, maybe inmates that are released for a while their cases are going on, and also children who are victims of neglect, and victims of domestic and sexual abuse. These are the vulnerable populations they serve. Okay. Forensic social workers often provide their clients with emotional support, guidance in navigating the court and legal systems. They also link them to relevant resources, house application assistance. These are how they assist them, what they provide and how they assist their clients, and individual policy advocacy. Due to the specialized needs of this population they work with, the forensic social workers need to have a strong clinical background, yes, so that they can complete psychosocial and risk assessments. Without that clinical background, they can't complete psychosocial assessment, because you need to conduct an in-depth assessment of your clients. So you have to have a clinical background, and also provide effective therapeutic services and implement interventions or crisis interventions for clients who have experienced trauma, so that they can grapple with their social, emotional, psychological, and behavioral challenges. Any questions so far? There should be a question coming on by now. I'm listening. I hope you can hear me. Please, someone should respond.
We can hear you.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes.
So does it mean you don't have any questions so far? You're understanding everything I've been saying? Okay, I proceed. Forensic social workers also interact and work with an interdisciplinary team of essentials in the field of civil and criminal law, corrections and social service systems. They work with lawyers, judges, prosecutors, even medical doctors. They also work with allied health professionals, depending on the case they are handling, so as to best help their clients. They also collaborate with the law enforcement officers, government employees, correction officers, and so on a regular basis. As a result, their responsibilities vary according to their environment in which they work and the people they assist. Yes, according to the cases they are handling at the moment. Okay. So I think I should throw in my own questions before I continue. I would have loved this to be an interactive class, but at times network issues might not allow that. But I think I should start throwing in my questions. Okay, the first question, and please make sure that when this class is ended, the ICT officer said you can download during the week. Once it's available for download, you can download. That after 1 week, you might not be able to find this online again. So please endeavor to download this because there's no PowerPoint presentation for it. So that you can always go back to the lecture, listen to what I taught, and do your revision with it. Okay, so what are the clients that the forensic social worker represents in the legal system? That is the first question. I'm expecting answers. At least, I think the 5 of you, maybe 6 of you were here when I started. What are the clients they represent in the legal system? Yes, I'm listening.
Children,
Okay.
families, communities.
Please, when you want to answer, I want to have the names of those that are answering. Yes, who is speaking now?
Islami.
Okay, I'm listening.
It can be children, it can be families, communities, and
Okay.
the vulnerable.
Okay, thank you. Yes, they are all correct. Another person, add up the ones that are not there. I'll start calling names, so you know I'm all seeing you. Chidera, are you there? Class rep.
Yes, ma.
Okay, so tell us the remaining. Lami has told us some clients the forensic social worker can represent. So tell us the remaining ones. At least we have like 3 more or 4 still remaining.
Ma.
Yes, I'm listening. Yeah?
I logged out. I was not hearing what they're saying, so that was why I logged out and logged in. But I can still remember you saying they take care of children that are being abused as a result of child abuse and neglect.
Don't tell us the services they offer to them. Just the clients that are represented, they can represent in the legal system. Lami told us children, youths, families, and we still have like maybe 4 or 5 more remaining. Just the clients they represent in the legal system.
Ma'am, I don't know. I cannot remember.
Okay. Oh yeah, now, Chiamaka, tell us, please.
I just joined. No, I didn't join when you were teaching all these ones. So I came late, but I think maybe I don't know. The family community.
You can't
I
even
can't.
remember what clients they represent. This is the only way I'll know that people are flowing the lecture, not
She
just the
has said
lecturer.
she has said children, family communities, and
We are getting them now. Okay, so Onyinye Nnaji, tell us, please. I want to hear. Nnaji Onyinye, I hope you are there. Talk to us. There are unmentioned ones yet. Maybe the network didn't allow her.
No.
Okay. Ozioko. Ozioko Cynthia. Can you hear me? Maybe these ones are having network issues. Okay, I remember I said that the clients they represent in the legal system it's good you know them because these are the main people they represent in the legal system. The infants, I mentioned the infants, not just children. Infants also have cases too. Or haven't you heard of cases where infants are abused by adults? Yes, infants also, babies that are less than 1 year, or even, okay, infants are 0 to 2 years. Then from 2 years is child. So infants also have cases too. I mentioned infants, child or children, youths, families, adults, elderly, or okay. Another question coming. What is the other term that you can also call a forensic social worker? There's another term you can call a forensic social worker that I said you can use interchangeably. Lami, please, can you help us with that so that others will hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please say it
Okay,
so
I
that
think
they
it's
will hear.
criminal justice.
Social worker, yes.
Yeah.
Criminal justice social workers. Others, I hope you heard. Chiamaka, I hope you heard. Chidera, I hope you heard. Ozioko Cynthia, I hope you all
yes,
heard what
ma'am.
you
Ma. Yes, ma.
said. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Onyinye Nnaji, are you there? Or is network disturbing you? Okay. So What does a criminal justice social worker or a forensic social worker make sure their client gets? Just a word for it. What do they make sure their client gets? They make sure their client gets something. And what is that?
Justice.
Okay. And you know, it's not only Lami that is in the class. Please, I hope others are following. Please, whatever she's saying, listen to it. Maybe because she joined first. Then I talked about them working in various settings and performing various roles, which are, please, can you list some of them?
I think they help in maybe people as crime victims,
Okay.
maybe carrying out a criminal investigation, or rape victims, or welfare, giving people their rights or something like that. And they can as well be a mediator to
Yes. They can
some.
also advocate on behalf of their victims too.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Chidera, are you there?
Yes, ma.
So what other functions do they perform? Give us one or two functions that they perform. One or two
Ma,
that you heard.
you say that in court, the forensic social worker can be the one to at least analyze what happened.
Mhm.
My this one, that's the only one I heard. I
Okay.
also heard what you said
Let
in
me
crime
let me
space.
go over the roles again and the functions, because you need to know these things. The functions and the diverse roles they perform includes child protection from abuse and neglect, child protection from child abuse and child neglect, child advocacy, they advocate on behalf of children, child custody cases, elders care protection. Yes, they protect the elderly from abuse too and neglect, because the elders, you all know, are also abused and neglected too by their caregivers at times. Then they can serve as court assessors. I gave you the meaning of a court assessor. They serve as probation and investigative officers. I gave you the meaning of that. Then termination of parental rights and adoption, services to juvenile or minors, those that are not up to 18 years, and adults in correctional institutions, mostly in prison because they are adults. Then court mandated mental health and substance abuse treatment. And they also offer services for crime victims, like you said, community service for offenders. They handle community services for offenders, like some people practice the act of when offenders commits maybe a civil crime, not even a criminal crime. People that serve community services are mostly people that maybe offend in a civil way. For example, maybe they were asked not to come out on a Saturday. Let me give you a life example that is clean up, and you see them driving out that day during the cleanup time. They can be arrested and be given community service to perform, because theirs is not a criminal case, it's a civil case, though they will be given a community service to perform. So the social workers are put in charge to make sure those services, those community services are performed. Is there any question? Someone wants to ask a question? Okay. And they make sure that restitution is offered to victims of crime. They take care of rape victims, trauma victims, also takes care of inmates reintegration. Inmates, that's prisoners that came out of prison, their reintegration back into the society. They make sure they are reintegrated, they are fixed back into the society so that they can live a normal life like every other person. Yes, is there a question? Okay. And they handle human trafficking, cases of human trafficking, domestic violence. They educate. They also work in healthcare, welfare rights, and evaluation and competency in civil and criminal trials. They also work in sentence mitigation and mediation, amongst others. And I also said that in addition, social workers in many settings may be called to testify in courts as either a fact witness or expert witness. I'm going back because of the people that didn't join on time or due to the network issues. They can be called to testify in courts as either a fact witness or expert witness. And I gave the meanings of a fact witness as someone who testifies only to that which he or she has firsthand knowledge of. And it describes only fact. At least you have your fact. But an expert witness is a person who is especially skilled in the field in which he or she is giving evidence. And I also said that a forensic social worker may also be involved in the development of policies and legislation aimed at promoting social justice. Okay. So I talked about three field of social work practice where forensic social workers can work in, which are, can someone list them out for me?
Which are micro, meso, and
macro. Okay, so tell us, micro represents who?
like the minors. I don't
No.
know.
Yes, any other person. Micro represents
Individual.
individuals, yes. Then the meso
Can be a larger community.
no, meso represent the small groups or organizations,
Small
Okay.
group.
while the macro represents the local,
Okay.
state, national and international level of social work practice. I hope you've gotten that now correctly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I also talked about vulnerable populations which they serve.
Ma'am,
I
excuse
also
me.
talked about vulnerable populations which they serve, which are, can anybody remember what I said?
Youth and adults in prisons, minors who have issues, that's legal issues,
Okay.
inmates.
You can also call them juvenile offenders or juvenile delinquents in probation or remand homes, rehabilitation centers. And I also talked about those juveniles having juvenile prisons. Juvenile prisons. Okay. Then I also talked about released inmates. They are released inmates from prison. The social worker works towards their integration back into the society so that they can have a normal life, function as every other person, so that they won't be carrying the stigma of being ex-convicts around. Because when they carry that around, it affects their well-being, their mental and overall well-being. So the social worker helps them to fit back into the society. Then I talked about children who are victims of neglect, victims of abuse and neglect, victims of domestic and sexual abuse. Okay, in what way can a child be neglected? Please. In what way can a child be neglected? I know if I ask of in what way can a child be abused, that one might be easy to answer, but in what way can a child be neglected?
Emotionally.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that maybe the parents, once the child wants to have a close relationship with the mother will be like, come with this one, that kind, chasing the child away.
Okay. Okay.
Then,
For example, the child might not be taken care of, might not be
yeah,
well taken care of, whether
yeah,
health-wise, physically. Is that what you're trying to say?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. And okay, so what are also okay? Can you also give us an instance of child abuse, domestic or child abuse? I want us to know the difference now, because there's a difference between neglect and abuse, though they look like the same thing, but there's a slight difference between them.
Yes, abuse is a kind of physical effect, something that one can see and identify.
Okay, and that
Neglect,
abuse can come in the yes, it can come in the form of verbal abuse, right? Not just physical assault or beating and maltreatment. Can you hear me?
yes, that's why somebody will just call you bad name. It's a kind of physical something that one can identify. It is easily identified by the way it sounds or the way the effect on the person's body. So when you call a person an idiot, the person might start
Okay.
thinking like idiot. The person might find it very easy to call another person idiot. But
Okay.
when it comes to neglect, it's not easily identified in that person's life. It is identified later, but abuse is identified immediately.
Okay.
I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like a child that
Yes.
is being abused can easily influence others to be abused. Person can easily call if it is verbal abuse. Person can easily
Okay.
affect another person verbally, but it is now neglect.
Okay.
Person
Well
will bring it
understood.
out when the person is of age. Yes, because the way maybe if maybe your mom entrusted you to nanny. You want to come to your mommy to be chasing you away. Now you think that it is the normal thing. You can now transfer it to somebody when you are of age in that stage.
Okay.
But it is abuse, it's not something that one can experience immediately.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Very good explanation. Okay. Let me add this to what you said. Okay. Abuse can also come in the form of maltreatment, physical maltreatment like beatings, verbal abuse, denying of food, and all that. Then neglect can also be in the form of the basic needs and the rights of a child that are supposed to be provided to a child. They are not being given to that child. It means that child is being neglected. Maybe in the area of academics, in the area of feeding, health,
Yeah.
like maybe that child is sick, that child is not given medication or even taken to the hospital for the doctor to diagnose what the problem is, or that child might need some things in school and tells the parents or whoever is child is under the care, and that person doesn't take care of those basic needs, and that child is denied food or basic necessary things that helps someone to live and thrive. Do you understand the difference now? Okay.
Yes,
Then we already know what sexual abuse is. So let me not go into that. Then I talked about social workers working with other interdisciplinary team. Like, can you give me mention some of those interdisciplinary team they can work with? when handling cases in the legal system?
They can work with doctors, lawyers, that is other professionals. Let me just put it that way. Like other professionals, they could be even psychologists and
Okay.
allied.
Okay.
According
Yes,
to
allied health professionals, depending on the particular cases they are handling. Just like I said, they can consult with lawyers, judges, prosecutors, law enforcement officers, other government employees, correctional officers like prison warders, warders that works in juvenile centers, remand homes, probational homes, and all that. Yes. Okay. And I also said something about forensic social workers needing to have a strong background in what area. I made mention of something, a strong background in what area, so that they can complete psychosocial and risk assessments.
his clinical background, they're
Yeah.
supposed to have a good clinical background in order to know how to handle people when it comes to mental issues and other health issues.
When they want to conduct assessments. And you know,
Okay.
assessment is a comprehensive thing. Assessment is a comprehensive thing. When you're conducting an assessment, you have to do an in-depth assessment, like getting the history, the background of the person, everything that needs to be known about the person, the family, support groups. In fact, when you're getting a history of a person as a social worker, you not just the immediate problem that is being handled, the social worker will need to go back to the childhood of the person too, to start making inquiries, to conduct assessments, to source information. Because some cases, some issues are not just that they happened at that time. There could be a link back to growing up, what happened to the person while growing up, or the way the person grew up, and that thing escalated into adulthood and or whenever it's the problem at hand happened. They might need to go back to how the child grew up. There are cases that you can handle with an adult or a juvenile as a social worker. If you dig very deep, you notice that what happened to the person is as a result of what happened to the person in the past, even as a child, that lingered on, that was not treated, that was not taken care of, and it gave birth to something else in adulthood or as a juvenile, in juvenile stage. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Maybe someone, for example, now, let's say that your client is someone that raped someone, for example, and you are handling such a case. If you dig very deep, you might find out that that particular person that raped somebody maybe was molested as a child. And the person grew up with that mindset and felt that, okay, after all, they did this to me when I was small, that it is nothing. I can equally do it to someone else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you are conducting an assessment, you have to dig very deep into that assessment. And without a clinical background, you can't dig deep into such an assessment. You just conduct your assessment shallowly and you not achieve. And when you conduct your assessment shallowly, you not give, how will I put it, arrive at a good therapeutic intervention. You not even find the right therapeutic intervention to use to handle a particular case. So everything has to start with diagnosis, assessment, then intervention. After intervention, your planning and intervention, then you review and evaluate. And even while you are doing that, you need to still reassess. Assessment is an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time assessment, because you might need to continue reassessing, making more inquiries. Even while the treatment has started going on, you'll be making more inquiries to review what you're doing and to make sure you are arriving at the desired results. Okay.
Hello, ma.
Okay.
Hello, ma.
Yeah. Mm.
Please, can you just rewind what you said about, you said intervention, blah, 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 assessment. I didn't get that properly, sorry.
I said that while we are talking about that clinical background, having that strong clinical background, so that you can complete a psychosocial and risk assessment with a client, is that when you are, that clinical background is very important. Without it, you can't conduct a proper assessment that has to be very in-depth, that has to carry everything about a client, not just, you can't just assess a client based on the presenting problem. That's the problem at hand that you are handling. You might need to go back a bit into the person's life to know what, as a child, how the person grew up, the kind of family background the person has, what happened to the person at so different stages. Do you get the kind of support groups or the caregivers, cultural background? There are so many things that you need to look into when you are conducting assessment. You can't just conduct an assessment based on what the problem or the challenge of the client. You might need to go further than that. You need to go back, even go back to the person's childhood. It's very important, because if you don't do that, you can't go to the next level. After you diagnose, you assess. In fact, during assessment, you are diagnosing the person's challenge. And after that assessment, if you don't get a proper assessment, if you don't conduct a proper assessment, you cannot intervene in that person's case. You cannot give the right therapeutic intervention, or you can't get the right treatment method for that client. Assessment carries a lot of, it's through assessment that you can get the right a therapeutic intervention or treatment intervention for the client. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's, you need to know so many things. You need to get every background information you can lay hands on. That is what I'm trying to say. Before
It's
you
okay.
can,
It's all right.
before you can
Please,
go
I would like you to explain to me these court assessors, please.
Okay. Okay. Who a court
Thank
assessor is. Okay. They are non-lawyers. Court assessor can be not necessarily a lawyer. It can be a social worker, a police officer, any other person, even a medical doctor who sits together with a judge during court cases or court session to provide expert advice or guidance on the matter at hand, depending on the case at hand. They provide just expert advice. It depends on the case at hand they are handling at the moment. But that person must not be a lawyer. They are usually non-lawyers. They sit with judges in the court. But I don't think we have them here in Nigeria yet. You see them in the Western world where social work is being practiced, but not here yet. Is
Thank
it
you,
on the
ma'am.
screen? Okay. Any other question, please? We have like 8 minutes before the class is ended. Please, if you have any other question. And I explained sentence mitigation. Sentence mitigation is just like when a social worker, or yes, a social worker is trying to plead with the judge to tell the judge, please tamper justice with mercy. Yes, I know this person has offended in such a way, but please tamper justice with mercy. Let's say that the person was supposed to be given a prison sentence of 10 years. With sentence mitigation, the social worker can be able to convince the judge, please lessen the years of sentence. They can give the person maybe 5 years of sentence with parole. With a parole, yes, the person might not serve up to the 10 years that was supposed to be given to them. So it is a strategy to show the judge why the defendant is worthy of mercy, why they should show mercy no matter the crime. Please, let's just give the person lesser years, and all that. So you still bring on your questions.
Ma,
Mm-hmm.
please, Please, guys, I'm asking question number, not what you taught us this afternoon.
Okay.
Can I go on? The link that I said that we should download.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how it's going to be. Like
See, I think
yesterday, I
after this class, normally the HOD puts it when the download is ready. I think he puts it on the platform that this particular class is ready for download. You should just follow the link and download it. Because the ICT officer told me that because they have a huge classes of Zoom online, so because they want more space, after 1 week they might delete the classes. So it's good you download it so that you can always listen to it when you want to revise. Do you understand?
the problem is
Uh,
this is the seventh lecture that we're having for the week. But the HOD have not
okay.
sent anything about it. There's nothing like the link in the group chat.
Okay, not even one.
Not even one.
Okay. Meaning that, okay, that will make me see him on Monday, just to remind him. He might be busy with a lot of workload at the moment. So his mind might not go to there to tell you that the session is ready for download. So I might need to remind on Monday.
Okay, ma, thank you.
Yeah, so that he will tell the ICT officer once it is ready, he will put it on the platform. That's the way we normally do it. Then anybody that wants to download can download within a week before it is deleted. So on failing you on Monday, I'll remind him.
Okay, ma, thank you.
Okay. Please bring on your questions. Time is running out.
Ma, did you need attendance for this course?
I already have my attendance here. I'm seeing
Thank you,
everybody
ma.
that attended the class. I can see Ozioko, Cynthia, Udoamaka, though she doesn't want to say anything. Cynthia, please say hello to us. You've been there, but you've not said anything. I think she's having network issues. And Onyinye Naji was also there, but maybe the network has logged her out. So I have a list already. As soon as I came in, I took down a list. I have Lami, I have Chidera, and Chiamaka. Somebody is with an iPhone. I don't know who the person is. The person with an iPhone, please, can you identify yourself if you are still online? And I think I also saw our HOD, but I think he's not online now. Maybe the network has also logged him out. So don't worry, I have the class list already.
Okay, ma.
Hmm. Okay. So if there's no other questions, we can end the class by 1. Okay. So thank you for your time in attending the lecture. See you next week, Saturday.
Thank you.
So bye. Have a nice weekend all.
Bye. Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye, my friend. Take care.
Okay.
Ma, sorry, my network is very bad. Sorry.
This is the I was ready for